You ever open your eyes one morning and realize that joy just doesn't feel like joy anymore? Nothing hits your heart the way it used to. Nothing fills you the way it once did. And that empty space inside you, it isn't random. It's a quiet spiritual warning that something deeper is going on in your soul. Joy rarely shows up in one big moment, and it rarely disappears all at once. It slips away slowly, quietly, so softly that you almost miss it. At first it seems small. The worship music that once lifted you now feels like background noise. The things that used to spark excitement barely move you. You laugh, but it feels pushed. You smile, but it doesn't reach your heart. Your spirit feels tired and you can't put a reason on it. And that's the dangerous part. Most people don't notice when something is wrong because numbness doesn't scream, it whispers. It fades in quietly, and by the time you look up, you don't feel like yourself anymore. The Bible shows this through David. The same David who once danced before God with a heart full of joy later cried out, "Restore to me the joy of your salvation." He didn't ask for more power. He didn't ask for more blessings. He didn't even ask for a breakthrough. He asked for joy. Because he understood something most people miss until their heart feels empty. Joy is the first thing to slip away when your spirit slowly drifts from God. Not your beliefs, not your values, not your habits, your joy. And David understood why. His heart had moved from the place it used to rest in. That's how spiritual emptiness works. Your life can look completely fine on the outside, while on the inside your soul is quietly starving for God again. 3 biblical reasons your joy is quietly fading. Reason 1. Your heart is full of everything except God. Joy doesn't live in your feelings. It lives in your spirit. And when your spirit gets crowded with constant noise, nonstop scrolling, endless entertainment, and a mind that never rests, joy slowly gets pushed out. You're taking in so much, but none of it is feeding your soul. Jesus spoke about this when he said that when your eyes focus on the wrong things, darkness begins to fill you. Your joy isn't fading because your life is empty. It's fading because your spirit is loaded with things that can't grow joy. What you feed your heart will either lift you or drain you. Reason 2. You're fighting life with an empty tank. Sometimes life feels heavy not because something big happened, but because your spirit is tired. The Bible teaches that God's joy is what gives you strength. So when joy drops, strength drops too. That's why every little thing feels harder, heavier, and overwhelming. You've been pushing through life using your own energy, and it's wearing you down. Joy comes from staying close to God, not from trying to handle everything alone. If you feel distance in your heart, you don't need fancy prayers. Just whisper, "I'm coming back." When you return to God, joy returns to you. Reason 3. God is calling your heart back. Sometimes joy doesn't fade because life is falling apart. It fades because your heart has drifted. God rarely begins with a loud warning. He begins with a quiet pull. And one of the strongest signs is when joy goes missing. David understood this deeply. He didn't ask God for a new blessing. He asked for his joy back because he knew his heart had moved away. Scripture reminds us that when love grows cold, joy fades with it. That empty feeling inside you isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's God gently pulling you home. How God restores your joy. God brings joy back when you choose honesty. Joy can't grow in a heart that is hiding. When David finally stopped pretending and spoke the truth about what was going on inside him, something shifted. Psalm 32 explains that keeping things buried only exhausts the soul. But when he opened up to God, peace and joy began to flow again. Real honesty is the doorway joy uses to enter your life. God brings joy back when you return to his presence. Joy doesn't come from distractions, comfort, or entertainment. Real joy lives where God is. Psalm 16:11 says that joy is full and complete in his presence. Not halfway, not for a moment. Full. If you feel empty, it's not because you need more noise. Your spirit is craving connection with him. Even a simple whisper like, "God, I need you," can reopen a part of your heart that has been shut for too long. God brings joy back when you step back into purpose. Joy starts fading when life feels dull or pointless. But joy rises again when you remember that God made you for something bigger than what you see. Isaiah 61 says that God takes heaviness and replaces it with joy and praise. He doesn't just fix your pain, he gives you a new assignment. He aligns your heart with what he created you to do. And when you walk in that purpose, joy naturally returns. Joy isn't something you chase around. Joy is found in Jesus, and he stays with you. So take a moment and think, if joy is missing, what part of your heart have you closed off from God? Joy doesn't vanish for no reason, and it doesn't return until you respond. Sit with that question, let it speak to you, and when you're ready, simply say joy. Not to pretend you're okay, but to show you're ready for God to rebuild what life has taken.